The average man today is weaker now than he has ever been before. This is not just my opinion, this is objective fact as assessed by the scientific evidence that suggests that the average man today on the level of physicality is weaker now than he has ever been before, as assessed by grip strength, as assessed by testosterone levels, as assessed by the number of men today that are obese and overweight and are struggling with their own body, right? On the level of mentality, where depression, anxiety, all these mental health conditions are on the rise. On the level of spirituality, which to me means service and contribution and giving, a Gallup poll assessed that 85% of people are not engaged with their job, right? Less than 15% are actually engaged with their job. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 primary causes of this weakness so that you can overcome them, so that you can step into your personal power and path as a man rather than get sucked into the weakness that is plaguing our society right now. And when I got started on this masculine development journey is when I realized that I had low testosterone. Okay, I was stuck in a cycle of consumption. I was stuck in a cycle of depression. I could barely crawl out of bed in the morning. I was broke. I was broken, right? These were all the symptoms I was experiencing. And I realized that low testosterone was the primary cause behind these symptoms. But in itself, we're like, okay, yeah, low testosterone, it's on the rise. Like a lot of men are actually struggling with this. But what causes low testosterone, right? It's like even the low testosterone in itself is a symptom of a deeper root cause. And I believe that once we can address these 5 causes is when we can change our choices, and that is when we eventually change our lives and we can become and close the gap between how we are showing up in life and how we are capable of showing up in life. Now, the first primary cause of weakness in men is the exploitation of biology. Okay, now what do I mean by this? So your digestive system is a miracle of creation. The fact that you can take the food that you eat and it somehow through its metabolism converts it into your body, right? That's why they say you are what you eat, right? The fact that what you eat becomes who you are. And the reality is that a lot of the food that is easily available on the market is not actually food, as much as it is edible food-like substances. And when we consume these edible food-like substances is when they negatively affect our body and our body affects our mind, right? Understand that a large part of how you function is determined by what you fuel your body with. And when you consume what most people consume, right? The standard American diet, the modern American diet, which is making you sad and mad, right? SAD, MAD, is largely consumed of refined grains, right? Refined sugars, refined vegetable oils, and factory farmed meats. Now, there's a lot of philosophy around what is the optimal diet. You know, should you be vegetarian? Should you be vegan? Should you be carnivore? I'm not here to tell you what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. You do what you think is best for you, but also understand that the one thing that all of these different nutrition philosophers agree on, right? Because they don't agree on much, right? They're always like, no, this is the best, that's the best. One thing they agree on is that refined oils, refined refined sugars, refined grains, and factory farmed meats are not doing your body any good, right? So if you just take the steps to remove these 4 things from your fuel, right? Don't eat for entertainment, eat for fuel. Yeah, you can also enjoy it, right? I love eating food that tastes good and you enjoy it with the family and your friends and you're around them and it becomes a moment of celebration and to enjoy the moment for sure, right? I'm not saying that deprive yourself of everything. I'm just saying have an awareness that the food that you feed your body affects who you are, it affects how you are. And the exploitation of biology means that a lot of these big food industries are creating foods that hijack our taste buds, right? They stimulate our taste buds. They taste really good, but they affect us negatively in the long term. And that's why we continue to consume them, right? And I was reading that a large reason why so many men are overweight and obese, not only men, but people in general, is because the primary cause of obesity, right? This actually blew my mind when I thought about it, is malnutrition, right? The primary cause of obesity and being overweight is malnutrition, because the more that you eat food, edible food like substances that are deprived of nutrients that your body needs, right? When they're deprived of vitamins and minerals that your body needs to function optimally, is when your body thinks, oh, like I'm not receiving the nutrients, so I need to eat more. And then you just eat more and more and more, and you're still malnourished, and that is a negative cycle from there. So it's important to have an awareness that, you know, when your body is not functioning to peak capacity, when it's being hijacked by these edible food like substances, then that is what causes the weakness in our functioning as well. Okay, now the second cause of weakness in modern men is the mind hacking economy. Okay, you are not only what you eat, you are also what you give your attention to. And the real question to ask is, how much of your day is spent giving your attention and focus to things that you have been intentional and deliberate about? Okay, we have our smartphones in our pockets, which are constantly stimulating us with new stuff that we can just get through the endless scroll of the social media feed, right? Now, there is a reason that the techno giants like Steve Jobs was actually a technophobe. What do I mean by this? There's a reason that he did not give his kids an iPad, right? Because he understood the long-term repercussions of this. Now, technology is what makes us who we are. Technology is what has gotten us to the peak of being the apex predators of this world, of conquering the world, of getting to the place where we are right now. But understand that technology is a tool, right? So it's important not to let the tool use you. The mind hacking economy is last I read, it was estimated to be $7 trillion, right? Whereby all of these companies are focused on creating algorithms that get your attention, because the more attention of yours that they have, the more advertising space that they can sell, right? So I'm not saying it's good, bad, right, or wrong. I'm saying that a business is to create addictive products, right? The more that the consumer is getting engaged with the product, the more income that business generates. So that's just the way that the business is set up. I'm not saying it's good, right, wrong, bad, right? I am saying that it's important for you to have an awareness of where you put your attention, and whether you are putting it with intention, with deliberateness, with thought, with forethought, or whether you're just reacting compulsively, right? So many of us have become bundles of conditioned reflexes that are compulsively reacting to the stimulus in our environment. And when our attention is not our own, we can't really say that our soul is our own. If you don't choose where you put your attention, then you don't choose where you put the only thing that you have, right? Do you have anything other than your attention, right? And time is what we use to manage our attention. So it is very important to be deliberate about where we bring our attention to. Okay, so critical over there. I hope you understand the importance of this, because everything around in our society is designed to hack our attention. And when we can't focus, then we can't bring our attention to what actually matters, to what will actually improve the quality of our lives, towards what will actually move us towards the life that we are intending to create, because our attention is getting hacked. Okay, so important to consider that as well. Now, the third cause of weakness in men is the spiritual warfare that is going on. Okay, I understand the exploitation of biology. It's about hacking our body, about hacking our physicality, right? That's the mind hacking economy, right? Hacking our attention, hacking our mind. And this thing right here, the PORN trap, is damaging our spirituality. Now, why do I say that? Okay, it's important to understand there's a lot of neurological effects that are taking place on our brain, right? I've made other videos on this about how it hacks your gray matter, which is the seat of your willpower and decision making and self-control. Okay, it actually sparks up the ventral striatum, which is the area of your brain that is associated with social processing, that lights up when you form a deep connection with someone, that lights up when you actually increase in social status, that lights up when you have financial gains in your life, right? And that area gets hijacked when you engage in PORN, okay? And when that area is getting hijacked by PORN, you're experiencing that rush of dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter that motivates human behavior. The more that you watch porn, the more that those neurons fire, the more that they wire together, and the less you will be motivated to raise your status, to raise your income, to create what you are here to create, to form deep, passionate, loving connections with someone. Okay, it's no surprise that the scientific studies actually reveal that people who engage in this, men who engage in this specifically, are more depressed, they're more anxious, they have less self-control, right? So you can check out a book called Your Brain on PORN. I think the author's name is Gary Wilbert, if I'm not mistaken. You can find it on Amazon. He's a neuroscientist, and he's really signaling the alarm on the real dangers of this right here, right now. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and he's like, yeah, but like everyone does it, right? Everyone does it, and then sometimes I get FOMO if everyone's doing it, I'm not, right? Understand that it is no measure of good health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society, right? Krishnamurti said that. So it's like, oh yeah, if that's your justification, if everyone's doing it, then I'm gonna do it, then that's up to you. But it's important always to have the awareness of the way that this thing is affecting us. And the reason I say that it's spiritual warfare is because you are here to create. You are a creator. And what this does is cause us to let go of our creative energy. And when we don't have creative energy is when we don't have the capacity to create ourselves anew, to create our lives anew, to create what we are here to create, which is a unique service that we are here to offer the world, because we've already gotten on a level of, biology again. On the level of our evolution, we've met our needs, right? We surviving and reproducing, we're getting that spike of dopamine. We're just going to keep on repeating that. And then nothing else really compares to that high. But at the end of the day, over the long term, you just feel deprived because potential unexpressed leads to pain. And this actually holds us back from expressing our potential, right? So I made other videos on this. I will link out to them somewhere up here down below as well. But read the book Your Brain on PORN. You can get it on Amazon and really get an awareness that it's not only, it's gonna be horrible for your gray matter, for your ability to form connections, but it's also horrible for your ability to create the results that you want to create in your life. Okay. Now the fourth thing, this is insidious. This might be something that makes you feel uncomfortable, but this is the truth, and it is the modern education system. Okay. Why did Albert Einstein say that the only thing that gets in the way of my learning is my education? Why did he say that? Because the reality is that the modern education system was designed and developed to create factory workers. Okay. John D. Rockefeller Sr., who actually founded the U.S. General Education Board, said, I want a nation of workers. I do not want a nation of thinkers, right? And the modern education system teaches us what to think in terms of science, in terms of history, and it's standardized testing, right? Putting kids on the assembly line. You look at a kid, before he starts school, he's so curious, he's so energetic, he's so open and excited. And you look at that same kid, 10 years later, or even 13 years later, as a teenager, he's dull, he's numbed out because schools suppress creativity. They put you on the assembly line, they put you on that standardized testing line, and if you don't live up to those expectations, then you are labeled as dumb, as a failure, as someone who's not worth it, or someone who can't provide value, right? Modern education system is a modern indoctrination system. It's like the better that you are able to absorb and recycle the information that the system is feeding you, the higher that you rise in that hierarchy, right? So it's important to understand that, it's not about what to think, it's about how to think, right? Why does the modern education system not teach us about finances, about nutrition, about movement, about health, about emotional intelligence? Why is that the case? I believe it is intentional, it is deliberate, because schools just want to put this information in you, and the better that you're able to follow instructions, the better you're able to sit in your seat, the better you're able to only speak when spoken to, the better you're labeled as an intelligent individual, as someone who's quote unquote smart, right? But it's not about how smart you are, it is about how you are smart. Because all of us have unique capacities and unique gifts and unique capabilities that we are here to offer to the world. And the modern education system does not want that. It wants everyone to be the same. It wants everyone to be a factory worker, to be a bot. And when we are indoctrinated into that system is when we don't think for ourselves, and when we are more susceptible to receive the programming from the outside rather than get clear on why we are here, to get clear on what to do about it, to get clear on what our authentic path and purpose is in life, because we're too distracted, right? And another thing is that, oh yeah, you have to go to college, you have to go to university. I'm not saying there's anything right, wrong, good or bad about college, but understand that the mass control of people is created through debt. When you graduate high school, say, yeah, I have to go to university, otherwise I won't get a good job. So I need to go and get into $100,000 of debt so that I can get a job that I can use to pay off my debt. Right? It's a negative cycle from there. It's important to have an awareness of how the whole financial system works, to have an awareness of how your whole body temple is functioning. It's important to have an awareness of mindfulness, of emotional intelligence, all the stuff that they don't teach you in school, all the stuff that is necessary for you to create a life that you love. Right? So I went on a bit of a rant over there. Of course, do what you think is best for you, but just have the awareness of what is really going on. Take a step back, create some time and space for yourself to really think about why you are here, rather than picking up and being told what you are here for. Right? It's so easy to just be on the hamster wheel, to just be busy being busy, but that is exactly what the system wants. That is exactly why most men are weak today, because weaker men are easier to control. Right? And this is all a game of manipulation and control, because the weaker that the people are, the easier that they are to control. The more they are kept in fear, the easier that they are to control. And the more that they are kept in systematically imposed ignorance, right, is really what it all comes down to, right? We say in society, ignorance is bliss. But is that really true? Right? These cliches that come up sometimes. Yeah, ignorance is bliss, man. But is that really true? Because I believe that there is no suffering that is not caused by ignorance, right? Ignorance is the root cause of all suffering in my worldview. The more I thought about this, it's like, yeah, I'm struggling to pay the bills right now. Well, you're suffering, yeah. And perhaps it's because you're ignorant of how to create more value in the marketplace. Perhaps you're ignorant of how to manage your own emotions. Perhaps you are ignorant of how to actually manage your finances. Perhaps you're ignorant of how to create more cash flow. Perhaps you're ignorant of how the system is working. Perhaps you're ignorant of your own ignorance. Right? These are the questions that I told myself. These are the reflections that I wrote to myself in my journal, and getting an awareness of, okay, what is really going on here? Because all of this, right? All of this stuff, the food, the mind hacking, the PORN, the education system, all of this is systematically designed to impose ignorance about who you really are. Okay? Who you really are is not you on the level of your roles as a brother, as a father, as an uncle, as a friend, as your job description, right? These are all dimensions of who you are on the level of human. But you are a human being, right? Human on the level of form, bound in time by the roles that you play. I'm not saying that the human aspect of you is not important. I'm saying that's not who you really are. Who you really are is pure being that is having a human experience. And the more that we wake up to who we really are and our true power and our true essence, the less we will be able to be controlled, right? If you wake up to the reality that, yeah, man, like I'm a spiritual being, right? Intellectually, it's entertaining and stimulating. Yeah, I'm a spiritual being. But once you have that experience, you realize that I am the awareness that is having this experience. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my body. This is something we come back to again and again and again. But this whole system is designed to keep us in ignorance of this, right? Materialism. We think that I am this body. We think that we are my race. I think I am my nationality. I think I am my job description. The more that I identify with form and materialism, the less I actually connect with who I am on the level of essence. The more I forget about that, the easier I am to control, because I forget about my authentic purpose and path and power as a man, right? So waking up to that reality, because we are caught up in this materialism, but when we actually dive deeper into the science as well, we realize that the electromagnetic spectrum, right, is less than 1% of the entire universe, right? The entire universe is labeled as dark matter and dark energy for the most part, which we label it that because we don't know what it is, right? And then the electromagnetic spectrum, we can only observe less than 1% of it through the visible light spectrum, right? Which is what we can perceive with our senses. And so it's like less than 1% of 1% is what we can perceive, and we consider that to be real. But in reality, it's less than 1% of 1%. So what even is real? right? It's like we think that this is real, but what really is real? And that is what it comes down to, right? The questions are the answer, right? The more that you can begin asking the questions and the less you can actually think that you know it already, right? It's like, oh, settled science. Yeah, I know that this is a board, right? This is a human, but really it's like atoms that have nucleus and proton and electron and all of these things, but it's like an atom is actually like 99.99% empty space. So what even is matter, right? So you could like keep going deeper and deeper, but ultimately it's the realization that, to truly thrive in life, it's not only about the human aspect, it's about bringing them in harmony, right? How can you play your role well without getting attached to it? How can you do the things and live up to your duty and play the roles without identifying too much with it and having that awareness that, okay, I am pure loving awareness right now. I am not a victim of external conditioning, right? And the more that you realize your own power, the more that you will wake up to the reality that you are here to create a life that you love, and you do not have to be at the mercy of external forces that hold you back, like all of this stuff. You have it in you to go ahead and do what you are here to do. You have it in you to close the gap between how you're showing up and how you know in your heart of hearts you are capable of showing up, right? So having an awareness of these 5 causes is what will lead you to create new choices around these areas of what you feed your body, around what you feed your attention to, around this deadly poison right here, so that you can go ahead and make the choices that serve the highest expression of who you are. So leave a comment below letting me know which one of these things you struggle with the most, so that we can go ahead and optimize that moving forward. I will offer any insight that I have for you over there as well. Click the like button if you like this video, subscribe if you have not already, because it really helps the channel grow, and I release new content just like this every single week. Okay, so leave your comment below, and I'm going to leave you in the peace and power of the one infinite creator, and I will catch you in the next one. Much love to you. Take care.